Okay, on this question, we are subtracting two fractions with different denominators. How do we add or subtract fractions? We've got to get a common denominator, don't we? But first, step number one, so let me write up here, we are adding, subtracting rationals. They're technically called, that's just a fancy word for fractions, basically. So they're all rationals, they're ratios, they're fractions, so one thing over the other. Anyway, what do you got to do? Step number one, you've got to factor the denominators. So let's do that. So I'll come over here. Okay, so let's factor. So 2 parentheses, same thing on the other one. So X is in the front. You remember how it works, right? You got to have two numbers that it's got to be multiply, add, multiply. Remember that? And so what multiplies to be 2? Well, 1 times 2, both positive, and that'll add to be 3, won't it? How about the other one? Again, multiply, add, multiply. So X times X multiplies to be X squared. What multiplies to be 5? Well, 5 times 1. How does it add to be minus 4X? Remember what we do? Remember what we do with the sign in the middle? Where does the sign in the middle always go? I'm hoping I've said this so many times, it's just ringing in your mind. The sign in the middle goes on the bigger number, right? Bigger number, always. So that'd be on the 5, right? Whatever sign is in the middle always goes on the bigger number, doesn't it? I'll write that again. Sign in the middle goes on the bigger number, right? And so it's minus 5 plus 1, isn't it? Because that makes sense, doesn't it? If you lose 5 pounds and you gain back 1 pound, you lost 4 pounds, didn't you? Overall. And they multiply, negative times positive multiplies to be negative. So that's the right factorization. Okay. So now what do we do from here? So that's step number 1. Step number 2, multiply top and bottom of both fractions to make denominators the same. Multiply the top and the bottom of both fractions to make the two denominators the same, right? You got to make common ground, common denominators. So I go, okay, I'm going to multiply top and bottom. What am I going to do? Well, let's go to the first fraction. You just give them whatever they're missing, whatever they need. What does this first fraction need that the other one has, right? We got to make them the same. So we got to give them what the other guy has, right? So that they have the same stuff in the end. You with me? So we come over to this one and we say, okay, what does he need that the other guy has? What is he missing? What is this first one missing? Well, that X minus 5, huh? He doesn't have the X minus 5. So I say, okay. I'm going to give him the X minus 5, but top and bottom, right? Top and bottom, because you can't change the fraction. You got to do the same thing to the top and the bottom so that overall you haven't really changed it. You've just made it look different. What about the second fraction? What is this guy missing so that we make him the same as the other guy? This is that X plus 2, isn't it? So we say, okay. Here, I'll put it in the back. Doesn't really technically matter where you put it. X plus 2, top and bottom. See how the two denominators are the same now? See how I gave them what they're missing so that now they're the same. See, the left denominator has X plus 1, X plus 2, and X minus 5. The right one has those same 3 pieces. The two denominators are now the same, common denominators, common ground. So now we can make it one big bar. And so it's x plus 1, x plus 2, x minus 5. It doesn't really matter what order you do those in. Any order is totally fine. Okay, so let me write that a little bit better there. So there we go. So there's the common denominator. What happens in the top? Well, we just need to multiply out the tops. So I'm going to do that. So let me bring it down and be just a little more careful. So I've got x minus 5 with a 1. And don't forget this minus sign right here. Minus 1 times x plus 2. So watch out for that. Easy mistake to make. Watch out. Okay, so now step 3. Multiply tops. Multiply the tops only. So we don't do anything more with the bottoms. We're happy with the common denominator on the bottom. You know, once we get that common ground, common denominator, we don't mess with the denominator at all. We just leave it. So x plus 1, x plus 2, x minus 5. But on the top, I'm going to multiply the tops only and also do like terms. So I'm going to go boom, boom. This will be 1x minus 5. Now watch out. This minus 1 here needs to distribute. There's the most common mistake probably in the entire algebra curriculum, is forgetting that minus sign has to go to both. Very, 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 very common. Probably number 1 in the charts. That minus sign right here in the middle, so many people put it only on the front part, but don't take it to the back. It'd be a bummer to do all this good work and just mess up that one little sign, but that's super common. So watch out. All right, and now like terms, we can do that. 1x minus x, and those cancel. And we have minus 5 and minus 2. That makes minus 7. And the denominator is still the same. And there we go. So that's how we do it. So step number 1, factor denominators with the multiply, add, multiply. Step number 2 is the most tricky step. And that is to multiply top and bottom by whatever it takes. See how I gave x minus 5 top and bottom and x plus 2 top and bottom to make them have the same 3 pieces. You've got to make the 2 denominators have the same 3 pieces. And then multiply the tops only, not the bottom. We're done with the bottom. Gather like terms in the top, and we're done.